Hey everyone, this is Sabine from Art2Ride. This is my yearly submission with my horse Pura. You've seen it before in the submission that I did for the associate trainership, and honestly, she's been lame ever since the beginning of October. So um, the work over the past few months have mostly been lunging. Where in the beginning of October, she even refused to enter the arena, which is really not something for her, and clearly told me that something was wrong with her, and she was super lame on the back end. Um, we haven't been doing a lot of work in hand, but I have over the past few years. So just to see a little bit how she is and represent with the work in hand, um, here we are. She this is actually the first time in 3 months that I even have a saddle on her back. I have been doing some mounted work for 3 to 5 minutes for a few circles with the bareback pad. I did it over the past few weeks. But this is actually the first time that I have the saddle back on her. And compared to a few months ago, you can really see that the dip behind the saddle is quite less. So obviously for this horse who had a huge dip and her sacral bones sticking out, that's a really nice development. But she also needs quite some time to warm up. Um, so whatever I do, I just do some work in the walk and then in a trot and then just see how she goes throughout the session. Here a little bit of yielding. I changed the bit. I made it a little bit tighter actually because she was starting to get quite restless with the bit and throwing her tongue out. So I think just the leather stretched too much and she seems a little bit more solid in the contact now. I've made it a little bit more tighter here. She's really sticking out her nose here, which is really cool, and that's also why I stop her here. Um, because this horse could not stretch for a very long time, and so it's really nice to see how that is improved and how she's doing that right now. I could have started with a little bit more activation, but ever since she's been lame for quite some time, I'm quite careful with how much I push her. Also because if you push this horse too much, she would just get annoyed and start rushing instead of improving her movement. But now I feel that she is quite stiff in her hind legs. And that could be due a lack of activation. But I had an osteopath out a few weeks ago, and they will come back in 2 weeks. Um, she was quite stiff in her around the pelvis and the SI, so she's coming back in 2 weeks to see well how that is right now. But I still don't find her movement as good as I want to. And the cat is playing with this toy, and you can really hear that. So I'm sorry for the noise. I try to speak over it as much as possible. Um, but yeah, it's really nice to see her push her nose out as much as she's doing there, and the contact feels phenomenal. You can really see her lift her shoulder up, and you can see the back of the saddle actually going up and down. Um, which looks really cool. You can really see how much the back is moving there. You see that the activation is also a little bit better than before. Actually, we were quite rushing today because the girl who's filming me, Nikki, we only had 2 hours to film 2 horses, and the first hour we couldn't do nothing because apparently there were lessons, and I had no idea. So And then I got stressed because I only had one day to do this, and that was today, and she didn't have that much time because she had to leave. And usually when I get stressed, I get tense, and so does Pura. But apparently I was controlled enough today to keep her quite okay in the work. During the session today, quite some things happened with horses being turned in and out, and so later you see me taking a little bit more time in the walk to wait until she has her attention back with me. She's over the past week she's been quite stiff in the beginning of the work, so I slowly tried to push her to a little bit more active walk and to lengthen the stride as much as possible. She didn't feel that good today, to be honest. Um, Maybe because she had the day off yesterday, or um, it was not that cold today, and her coat is quite thick already, and um, so maybe the temperature, and also the arena was quite heavy, so maybe the temperature was bothering her. I don't know. Right here, she's more and more pushing her nose out, and her walk is opening up slowly. I still don't find her awesome here, but you do see the back of the saddle moving more, and you can really see the hind end bouncing. So for that, compared to how we started on this side and what it turned into, this is enough, and I'm going to work on the other side. She is starting to look more and more like a quarter horse or so, like a very much muscular horse. She's for who doesn't know, she's Arabian thoroughbred. She was super skinny and had zero muscles when I started with her. So and now she looks, when you take off the saddle, her back looks massive and very wide and round. It's never been that way. It looks really solid and strong. When in the beginning, when I started riding this horse, she would feel like a 3-year old while she was 12 back then, and now when you get on, you feel that you're on a grown up horse. So that's really cool. Well, um, honestly, in the work itself, I do not have too much comments except for the fact that I could keep my own hand a little bit more forward and giving sometimes, especially on the when she doesn't want to come to the contact, I push my hand down while if I keep my hand a little bit more forward and giving. It will be easier to make the range shorter, and she would might get a little bit less fussy on the bit. But with the first transition into trot, she's always a little bit fuzzy. So That's not too weird for her. She just needs quite some time to warm up, and she's also a little bit inactive and slow here. She could be a little bit more active, but well, I knew I was in the wrong energy, so if I would be pushy too much, she would overreact. So I kept myself a little bit low. But compared to the first round, you already see that she's more stepping in, and her activation is slowly getting more and more. I still find her quite stiff in the hind end. I don't find her optimum, but her length of the strides are already quite a lot improved compared to where we come from. And well, this horse comes from really, really, really far, and I've lost my motivation on working with the horses over the past few weeks, to be honest, because well, with her, I felt like I made a huge step back. Her lameness, I've had a lot of things with my horses, but lame for no reason. It's not really one of them. So going back to the lunging and being patient and waiting until she improves was really felt like a step back. And then I also feel that I'm a little bit stuck with Santer with saddle issues and well, I've been pushing him a little bit more towards a working position, but just made him tense and unhappy. So, um, yeah, that I just really got demotivated. I actually did a transition to activate a little bit more. She really kept it together for how I know her during this transition. Also, the transition forward was quite good and not that rushed. Usually, she could really throw up her head in the air and start running, um, and get stressed during the transitions. But she's quite okay here. Obviously she could do better and improve a whole lot more still. But for now, I'm really pleased with what she shows here, especially because she hasn't been moving on at the saddle. There's the fact that she is um, doing this. It's fine enough for me. And on the background, my kid is really enjoying himself. Oh my gosh. Um, but also the transition is activating her, so I do a little bit of transitioning during the work. Here you see the walk improving, though it's way more active. You see the hind leg stepping in already more than before. So the work in the trot is warming her up and improving the walk again. So and that's what I try to keep in mind every time I work her right now is if what I'm doing is actually improving this horse or not. Because if it's not, then it's quite pointless. Um, well, this is actually what I meant before with my hand. Because if I would have taken the rein a little bit shorter and had my hand a little bit higher and more forward with my elbows a little bit more bent, my contact just would have been way softer and easier to maintain. And now I'm too much in my head and not really feeling. So they're actually turning the horses out right now. There were people screaming and running on the turn because there was something wrong with the cow, um, which is obviously distracting her and me. But the thing I'm not doing right here is pushing my left hand down. I should have kept my hand a little bit more higher, my elbow a little bit more bent, my hand a little bit more forward, and my hand way lot more giving. Now I'm just annoyed because I feel the stress of not having enough time to do this and Nikki having to leave and really wanted to make this video and then they were turning the horses out and just things didn't really go the way I wanted. So yeah, that was working out great for me. But on the other hand, I stayed in a walk here a little bit to get her to the point that I felt that she was relaxed enough and just waiting until we're finished with the other horses. Um, I could have cut this out, but maybe it's good to see that either also my horse sometimes has moments that she's not really paying attention or distracted by other things that's going on around her, and that well, it's just an in the moment thing you need to deal with. Um, but here, if I would have been more giving, she wouldn't have pulled out. And if I've just taken, be a little bit more softer in my hand and just gave her a little bit more space, might have been a little bit better for her. Didn't feel that hard though, but now when I see it, I do see it. Actually, I'm going to take a picture right now of my cat. I'm doing the editing because he's so much chilling in front of my screen right now. It's so jealous. Well, in the meantime, they're still digging out the horses anyway, so well, I, it's not really a lot to say here except for the things that I've already said. Yeah, she's already starting to show a little bit more stretch, and I think the rest of the horses are going out now. I'm not too much in her hair, so I'm not making her super short and just constantly sending her hind legs out really pushy. I just try to keep contact and I try to push her out a little bit, but there's something exciting going on, so there's not really a point in going completely crazy and pushy. And actually, her paddock mate was also going quite. He was also really restless and jumpy. Well, here everything is out, so I felt like, okay, let's go. Let's use your energy for something a little bit more constructive. This side, she's, well, here I just find her lame. Well, not really lame, but slightly irregular. Um, her strides are getting bigger. She's getting more active throughout the workout. And if she would have been in the entrance of the arena refusing to walk in, I would have not worked her. But she seems happy to do something, although I don't find her really solid just yet. So as long as she's happy to move, I'm fine with her working. But I'm not doing a lot of mounted work because I don't find her good enough. I will be showing you some mounted work, and she felt really good today. So as long as I do at least some lunching before I get on, I think she's fine. Um, but I do have the idea that for the next year I might need some more body workers coming to check out upon her. And if she's going to be like this in 6 months from now, I'm going to get a vet making x-rays of her back to see how badly the back is damaged. Well, here also after the trot, you see that the walk is yet again improving. The transition also for her was really nice. I could push her for a little bit more activity, but like I said before, I knew my energy was not awesome to be working her. So, well, here transitions are also getting better. So I'm actually going to push her to a canter here. And her canter is not awesome. She has some really good days that she actually doesn't want to stop cantering anymore, and she's super relaxed while doing it. Today she didn't really feel that way. Could be the heat, could be the heaviness of the arena, could be the saddle. I don't know. So I will do a little bit more tryouts with the saddle in the next few weeks to see how she's doing. Um, her canter is not optimum yet, and well, she can have some really nice stretchy canter. She will not show that today, but the canter does improve her, so that's why I do it. You can see the movement getting more smooth, more solid, more flowy. So it's really useful for her to do the canter work. And actually, this horse couldn't canter until about 7, 8 months ago. So she would only cross canter on the other side. Mostly, this was already her good side. But when I would ask for a canter, she would start running and bucking, and then fall into the canter. And um, well, that was useless. But now she's actually doing some relaxed, decent canter. She could actually give a little bit more activity, but she didn't feel like she had that. So I could have pushed her more, but knowing this horse, it would have given me not really anything. So if she would have wanted to give more, she would have given it to me. And that's the thing, like if you see this trot compared to the trot before the canter, this trot is better. She's more stepping under, and mostly the movement is way more in a flow than it was before. Right. Back to a stretch before I would stop her. She could give a little bit more activity here. Here, this is better. Now you can really see her move and the saddle go up and down, so that's where I stop. It's really nice to see because we have quite a lot of young kids walking around the barn, and I really like this. I really like to see how calm and relaxed she has become. Like the 7-year-old kid of the barn owner just rides her to the field with a halter, and she is amazing. She's so careful and so sweet and so nice to them. My baby brother just jumps up. My boyfriend, I can take her out on on a hike with my boyfriend, and she takes care of him. She is such a big heart and such a nice and sweet horse. I just hope that I can enjoy more of that next year. Well, here the transition is still better than it's been before because it's really relaxed. She's not really jumping up and then rushing forward. So for that, but yeah, I would like to see it in the future become more fluid and over her back, and which is not there yet. Would also like to see the hind leg step on her a little bit more. She would need more activity for that, but she will give that quite soonish because I'm going to ask her to canter on this side as well. And sometimes you can really see her push up her shoulder, and you can really see the back of the saddle go up and down and get really bouncy. Here she gets more fluent already. But if you compare that to this side about 10 minutes ago in this video, you already see that she's improving there and that the trot is getting better. She's just really stiff, and she's also having some, because the paddocks are really wet. She was also her right hind leg is a little bit more stiff because of some irritation on the skin there near the hoof. So her leg's also a little bit thick there. So this was her bad side in canter actually. So well, no cross cantering. She is telling me that's enough because she wants to do more. She would just keep on going. She's not doing that today, so I'm not going to push her too much. But you already see that the trot has improved. She's a little bit more active, more fluent. Here, her transition into canter was way more active. A little bit jumpy, could have been less, but at least active. She was not running forward and then falling into the canter, but she would actually jump into it. But she cannot keep herself together. I think actually the heaviness of the arena, because we had some really cold nights and a lot of rain, so I don't want the arena to freeze up. But this is for her. This is really heavy. For this arena, this is also quite heavy. So. But yet again, her trot is improving, and that's actually why I keep doing the canter exercises. Not because the canter itself is really good, as you have seen today. She has better canters though, so it really depends on how she's feeling. She had the day off yesterday. Maybe if I worked her yesterday, she would have been a little bit better today. But those are all what ifs that give me absolutely nothing. But because I can see that the canter is improving the trot. It's worth it for me to keep doing it in as an exercise. And here you can see her walk improve as well because you really can see the shoulder coming up now, and you can really see the back of the saddle come up while she moves. So, and she's really pushing out her nose here. This looks really nice. I'm really happy to see this from her. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but we changed the saddle. Um, and after the clinic in 2017, in which Kriemhild Morgenroth came from Peter Horobin saddles, I've been riding with a shim pad, but I'm not doing that right now. There's no pad underneath the saddle for the first time. Well, there was no point in filming. And that's actually something in the background that I will be working later. But the girls were taking him for a walk to warm him up already for a little bit. So this is the first time in 3 months that I'm actually in the saddle. And as I said before, I got my saddles adjusted at the end of August, I think. Um, and I'm riding without a shin pad underneath it right now. So we tried to balance the saddle as much as on its own. So and back then she responded to it quite well. So I'm just going to try her and to see how she is. But I had no idea when I started. So but she felt really nice and good today, and I really missed riding this mare because she's such a nice and awesome horse. Um, I could push for a little bit more activity here actually, and I think I'm doing that throughout the walk. I'm trying to push her more and more. I've been doing some mounted work in the past 2 weeks with the bareback pet, but only just straight lines and a few circles, and I would just stop after like 3 or 4 rounds. So this is the first time in 3 months that I'm actually asking for a yield. I could keep her a little bit more straight here. This is already better, and asking her to step on her with her hind leg. Actually, my seat has quite improved over the past months because I'm straight again, due to some, well, psychological issues, through some things that happened over the past year. I got really unbalanced mentally, and causing me. I quit smoking as well, so my 5 minute breaks that I had throughout the day to breathe through and just step back from it all. Yeah, I lost that. And um, therefore, my breathing got really high up in my chest, and I got really stressed. And because of that, I started to lean forward, and it took me quite some time to get my balance back between my hips. And also with this horse, I really wanted to be light in the saddle, but being light and leaning forward are not the same thing. So I really needed to get my balance back between my hips and breathe through when I work. And actually, breathing exercises are really interesting to see because I feel that sometimes when I'm really tense, especially with Saunter, because I've been riding him more lately, um, that he really, really reacts upon my breathing and how my seat changes when I do that. Um, here you can really see my butt going up. I could push her a little bit less with my seat and just ask for more activity with my leg here and then sit a little bit more still. So I could ask for a little bit more response on my leg there because she's not really responding at all. But I'm a little bit soft with her because, well, like I said, I haven't been in the saddle for 3 months. So I was a little bit careful to see how she would react on the saddle, which is fine. So I can slowly start doing this more and more often, and maybe go back to do this like twice a week or so. Um, but she needs more activity to come over her back more. Her stretch is really nice. She's really working into the contact, and honestly, that connection in your hand feels absolutely insane. That's really cool, and especially on this moment, I could really feel her back pushing me up. She felt really good in that corner. Um, I felt really bouncy. You can see her shoulder actually coming back up a little bit again, but you can really see the hind end of the horse move. Yeah, this is really cool. And she's so much, her contact is so soft. And this horse would crawl behind the bit and you would have nothing, and then she would just do a rodeo jump in midair and turn around. It was impossible to stay on this horse. And now she's really working towards that contact, and it feels phenomenal. Um, Obviously you guys have a lot of horses who are way further in the training than she is, but well, for how far we have come with this mare, I'm it was really nice to be back in the saddle again. Um, but I need to slow it down a little bit. I need to be careful that I don't push it too much, but I really like the walk here. Yeah, and actually, no, this corner was even better. This felt so good. But she needs a little bit more activity, and I would like her to bring her balance a little bit more to the hind legs. But she had some pelvis issues, and I remember when I had them that my body took about 6 months and a few chiropractors to get used to the changes that were made because my pelvis got shifted through by snowboarding, and I figured out 2 years later. And after 2 years, they had to correct it. You can actually see the dip behind the saddle that she had is getting less and less. She's really starting to get round behind the saddle, and you have no idea how happy I am with that sight. I think this is about enough for today.